I'm not teaching, I'm publicly learning, but hi and welcome to Learning for the Life in the UK test part 6, the Romans, that is page 13, while doing a bit simple standing yoga. It's an unusual combination to learn and do sport at the same time, but it is a learning method and you might give it a try. You are invited to join into the exercises, but if you do it, it is at your own risk. And the number 6, I'm using this just under fair use for educational purposes, and I must say that will be not so much about yoga, I guess, more about the Romans. So, the Romans. Julius Caesar led a Roman invasion of Britain in 55 BC. So there are already a lot of dates. So, Julius Caesar. I'm not going to explain who Julius Caesar was, I guess. Okay, Julius Caesar was the Roman emperor. He lived from 100 before Christ to 44 before Christ. I guess that's way too many numbers I'm talking here. So we're just saying with what is written here. Julius Caesar was a Roman emperor, and he was the first Caesar. It's again way too much, so let's just say Julius Caesar was part of the Roman Empire. He was the imperator. He was the leader of the Roman Empire, and he invaded, or he and his army invaded in 55 before Christ, Britain. So Julius Caesar led a Roman invasion of Britain in 55 before Christ. This was unsuccessful, and for nearly 100 years Britain remained separate from the Roman Empire. So 55 before Christ, Julius Caesar tried to conquer Great Britain, and he didn't succeed. And for 100 years, almost, Britain remained separate from the Roman Empire. So Britain was not part of the Roman Empire. A lot of part of Europe and also of North Africa was part of the Roman Empire. Basically the whole region around the Mediterranean Sea, that is the Mediterranean Sea, you can see it, that was part of the Roman Empire. The Roman Empire was a very large country, basically 2/3 of Europe and the north of Africa, and also greater parts of, I'm not sure about all the names, but also in the east part of the Mediterranean Sea. So the Roman Empire was a very, very big and mighty country, I guess. But in 55 before Christ, they tried to enlarge their empire by getting Britain, but they didn't succeed. Julius Caesar did not succeed with his army in 55 before Christ, and for 100 years Britain remained separate from the Roman Empire. Let's start with the first yoga exercise. It is the crab and the wind, like the crab in the morning. We're having the legs standing a bit more and shoulder width wide apart. We're breathing in and lifting the arms up. And we're breathing out and we're leaning back. And breathe again in and come up. And breathe again out and lean back. And breathe again in. And that was the crab in the morning. Yes, the crab in the morning. Now the reed in the wind. The reed in the wind has the feet standing together. We're breathing in and lifting the arms up, and we're bringing the palms of the hands to touch. We're breathing in. And we're breathing out and we're leaning again back. And breathe in back into the middle. And out and lean again back. And breathe in. And out. And we're going to do now the next exercise, the moderator, while we're going to read more about the Romans. So just have your feet standing together, and we are going a bit in front, more or less onto the toes, and then back onto the heels. And we don't fall back. So we're going in front onto the toes and back. 55 before Christ, Julius Caesar tried to get Britain, but he didn't succeed, and for 100 years Britain remained separate from the Roman Empire. In AD 43, that means Anno Domini. It's genitive, so it's Domini. In Anno Domini 43, that means 43 after Christ. So 55 before Christ, Julius Caesar tried it, and now 43 years after Christ. So it's Anno Domini, because it is the year of the Lord. It is, I don't know exactly, but the Anno Domini, and because it is the year of the Lord, it is genitive, and because it is genitive, it is in Latin an E, and that is because it's not Anno, it is Anno Domini. Okay. It's Anno Domini 43. The Emperor Claudius led the Roman army in a new invasion. We're going in front, and that is the end of the moderator. So, in the year 43, if it's after Christ, we can just say 43. So in the year 43, or in Anno Domini 43, the Emperor Claudius, so first was Julius Caesar, then Emperor Claudius, but in between these were 100 years, and they weren't having their reign that long during that time in the Roman Empire. There were different emperors in Roman, but that's a lot about the Roman Empire, I guess. So the Emperor Claudius in 43 after Christ led the Roman army in a new invasion. So again, this time there was resistance from some of the British tribes, but the Romans were successful in occupying almost all of Britain. That's a long sentence. So this time, when Emperor Claudius in 43 tried in a new invasion, an invasion is, but I guess you know the word, is to come into that land. I know the word also, but I'm lacking a bit the amount necessary to explain it. So this time in 43, Emperor Claudius tried to invade Britain. There was resistance by some British tribes, so it's not explained here. So some people who were living in Britain as groups together. There was resistance by British tribes, but the Romans were successful in occupying almost all of Britain. I'm going to read a bit on. Okay, it's all educationally written, not sensational. It's family friendly. Okay, so this time there was resistance from some of the British tribes, but the Romans were successful in occupying almost all of Britain. So in 43, Emperor Claudius invaded Britain. There was resistance by British tribes, but how is it expressed? The Romans were successful in occupying almost all of Britain. So in 43, Anno Domini 43 after Christ 43, the Romans invaded Britain, and they were successful again, even though there was resistance by British tribes, and they conquered or occupied almost all of Britain. In the next exercise, we're doing a bit of a warrior. So one leg points with the toes to the outside, the other leg points with the toes more or less in front. We're lifting the arms, we're breathing in, and out we're leaning in front, and we're bending the knee in front. Now we're breathing in, and we're placing one arm on the leg, we're going up and we're looking up to the arm. And we're breathing in, and out. And again in, and out back into the warrior. And we're breathing in, and out, and one hand slides down the leg and the arm comes up. We're breathing in, and we're straightening a bit the front leg. And we're breathing out and sinking back. Breathing in, and out back another warrior. We're breathing in, and out we're ending the warrior. Another warrior on the other side. We don't have the time. I got quite some exercises left, but we got only 5 minutes left, and I want to do a bit more about the Romans. So one toe points to the outside, one toe more or less, so this direction the toes. We're breathing in, and out and we're leaning in front. We're breathing in, placing the arm on the knee, and we're going over. We're breathing in, out back into the warrior. Now we're breathing in, and out, and one hand comes down, and the arm up. We're breathing in and straightening the leg, and out we're sinking again down into the warrior. We're breathing in, out back into the warrior. We're breathing in, and we're ending the warrior. I guess we can do only one last exercise. So in 43 we had made just 2 sentences. In 43, the Emperor Claudius led the Roman army in a new invasion. This time there was resistance by some of the British tribes, but the Romans were successful in occupying almost all of Britain. One of the tribal leaders, so tribal leaders means that she was, let's read a bit on, who fought against the Romans was, I don't know how it's pronounced. I'm saying Boudica. So Boudica was a leader of one of these British tribes who showed resistance against this Roman invasion in 43, led by Emperor Claudius. One of the tribal I guess. Tribal leaders who fought against the Romans was Boudica, the queen of the Iceni, in what is now Eastern England. So, Boudica in Eastern England, East is here. So if that is England, then is that Eastern England. Where in Eastern England Boudica was the leader of a tribe, or one of the tribal leaders, yes, was the leader of one of these British tribes who were showing resistance against the Roman invasion in 43, led by Emperor Claudius, which was successful and occupied almost all of Britain. She was queen of the Iceni in what is now Eastern England. She is still remembered today, and there's a statue of her on Westminster Bridge in London, near the House of Parliament. We already know that that the UK has its parliament in Westminster, and that Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland have their own parliament, assemblies of their own parliaments or assemblies of their own, with devoted powers in, I still don't know what word, defined areas. It must be defined. It can't be definite. It is not definite. Definite is written with a T. I'm pretty sure it is. So it is defined, and that makes sense. In defined, so areas which are defined, where Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland have their own parliaments or assemblies, and the UK has its parliament which governs the UK in Westminster, and on the Westminster Bridge in London, near the House of Parliament, there is a statue remembering Boudica, the tribal leader of the Iceni in East England. Was it East? In Eastern England, which were leading her tribe in resistance against the Roman invasion in 43 Anno Domini, which were led by Emperor Claudius, which was another invasion 100 years after Julius Caesar tried it in 55 before Christ. So she is still remembered today, and there's a statue of her on Westminster Bridge in London. So London is the big town in England. It is the capital. There's also the Parliament, which governs the United Kingdom. And there's a river going through London. I guess it explains it someplace. There's a river, it's the Thames, and over this Thames there's the Westminster Bridge. I'm pretty sure about all that, but I guess we're going to learn it. And on this Westminster Bridge there is a statue in honor of Boudica, who was the queen of the Iceni. We have, again, as much left for this part of the Romans as we already had. So we're doing one last exercise. Let's do the garden pose and the finishing. So the toes are pointing to the outside. We're having an ulnar length space between our heels. We're breathing in and lifting the arms up. And we're breathing out into placing the elbows against the inside of the knees. We're breathing in and we're straightening up the back. And out, and the back comes up. Now breathe in, and now again out, so I'm doing nothing else when breathing in. Out, back into the garden pose. We're breathing in, straightening up the back. And out again with the back up. We're breathing in. And out, back into the garden pose. Now we're breathing in. And out, we're coming slowly up in one straight line. We're leaving the hands up. We're closing the legs, and we're doing the down diving swan. Coming down. Now we're breathing in and coming into monkey half lift, so make a straight back, come a little up. Breathe out and go again down. And one time again. Up into monkey half lift. And breathe out again down. We're breathing in. And we're doing the up diving swan. Closing the hands, and we're breathing out. And we're done with some simple yoga exercise, extending yoga exercise. Let's do that part again with the Romans, part 1 of part 6 of Learning for the Life in the UK test. So, the Romans, part 1. Julius Caesar led a Roman invasion of Britain in 55 before Christ. This was unsuccessful, and for nearly 100 years Britain remained separate from the Roman Empire. In Anno Domini 43, the Emperor Claudius led the Roman army in a new invasion. This time there was resistance from some of the British tribes, but the Romans were successful in occupying almost all of Britain. One of the tribal leaders who fought against the Romans was Boudica, the queen of the Iceni in what is now Eastern England. She is still remembered today, and there's a statue of her on Westminster Bridge in London near the House of Parliament. And thank you very much, and until the next time, to the Romans, part 2.